Hi guys, welcome back to the Rachalea podcast. I'm really excited for today because we are learning Torah. We have a real Torah class. I have a real Torah class for you today. And we're not just learning Torah, we are learning Chassidus. Chassidus, as you guys know, is the deepest understanding of Torah. It is like the stuff of life. We're going to be learning with the Rebbe today, so something that the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe taught that I learned. I've always told people that when I learn Chassidus, I feel like I'm being turned inside out. Like you're literally, something inside of me is coming out and my outer self is going in, and that sounds weird in and of itself. But if I can try to explain it, it's that, we're taught our whole lives as Jews, as people, human beings, but specifically, Judaism has this big emphasis on the soul. And we're taught that we have this soul, and you kind of search for the soul. What does the soul want? And you kind of have these inklings and these yearnings and these desires that you think come from your soul. Like, I want to know God. I want to learn Torah. And when I learn Chassidus, what does it mean to be turned inside out? In life, you feel you hear your body more. Like your body takes up the most room in your mind and in your life. Like, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm bored, I need to go get sunlight, I need to eat something, I'm angry, I need a massage, like all these things. I don't feel well, I need to go to work out. Our bodies are our main concerns because we're human. And then every so often, you're like, I felt the soul, I felt my soul. When you learn Chassidus, you're turned inside out, you hear your soul more. Your soul kind of comes out of hiding. It's the most incredible thing in the world. It's like your soul, which is usually more quiet and like deeply like hidden and buried inside of you, and you have to work on hearing it. Chassidus it switches place with your body. It's much louder than your body, and your body's much quieter. And it's like a reunion with your true self. It's just amazing and incredible. So we're going to be learning today. This week's Parsha, before we start learning, we have the 10 Commandments. This is a big Parsha, probably the most important Parsha in the whole Torah. This is when, the 10 Commandments changed the world. I did a lot of content this week on the 10 Commandments and the Torah and Western civilization in America. The 10 Commandments really serves as a foundation of Western civilization. The Torah in general, God telling humankind, it's just amazing what God cares about. I'm always fascinated with that Hashem was like, I care how you treat people. Like all the 10 Commandments are about morality, like human to human, right? Like the first two are about God, but they're really God saying, it's me, God, I'm talking to you. So now everything I say in the future, like do not steal, do not murder, you have to do it. And God just really cares that we're good to each other. And this changed the world. And it also, at Mount Sinai, so many things happened in this week's Parsha. We become a people, like the Jewish people are born into the world, into existence. And our existence was changed. There was a cosmic shift, and there was something cosmic that happened at Mount Sinai, where something happened to us. We, for better or for worse, we're just Jewish forever. And we have these laws and these commandments that we were charged to share with the world. And today I really want to talk about, why do I teach Torah in general? I teach Torah, and it's not easy, by the way. I'm already sweating. Whenever I teach Torah, I start to sweat. It's like a workout for me, like a spiritual workout. It's actually not easy for me to teach Torah. I do it because I fiercely and ferociously believe with every fiber of my being in us Jews, and even if you're not Jewish, this can relate to you in your own way, but when it comes to Jewish people, I firmly believe in us choosing our Jewishness fully, like with all of our heart and souls, with every part of us, to not live this double life when you're a Jew all the time. And that what does that mean? It means that you're a Torah Jew, you're a halachic Jew. That these strange laws we have about drinking coffee and needing to say a blessing before it and a blessing after it, and the milk has to be kosher, and all these and you have to cover your hair after you get married, and you can't show parts of your body. All these things that make us different. And throughout history, we Jews have kind of been embarrassed about those differences, to actually embrace them and be proud that you are different. You are different. If you are a Jew, you are different. Everyone has their differences. But if you're a Jew, you have these differences to you. We don't eat the same way as other people. We don't have children the same way as other people. We don't get married or date or love the same way as other people. We look different. We do. Anyone could see that I'm Jewish from a million miles away. I just look different. And I believe in us completely embracing that difference And that's why I teach Torah, because I believe in us women, Jewish women, I'm specifically speaking to women, but I speak to everyone, choosing our Jewishness. Now, before we go into this, I had this like crazy thing in my mind. The 10 Commandments have a very special place in my life, not just because I'm Jewish. And all human beings can relate to and take something, from the 10 Commandments that serves as our moral foundation for all human beings. But you guys know that I was raised by my parents, Rabbi Shmuley, and my mom, who's Debbie. It's funny, I never really said my parents' names growing up. It was considered like chutzpahdik. But anyways, Rabbi Shmuley and my mother, Debbie, they raised me. And this really connects to like feeling different as a Jew. I always felt so different as a kid, and I believe all 8 of my siblings felt this way too. We were so Jewy. We were so Jewish. And it's hard to explain that. There was a discomfort, and it turned into discomfort sometimes, where I felt so different than everyone all the time. And it was because of my parents, specifically my dad, because my mom was like my parents had and still have a very, what's it called? Not conservative, like traditional roles. Like my dad is more severe. He's a disciplinarian. He taught us our morals, and he guided us, and he would have meetings with us, and he was like the head of the family. And my mother was much more soft and nurturing and loving, and like kept us alive and made us dinner for 20 years. And she was just, that nurturing, motherly, feminine, so feminine. My mom is like the most feminine woman you'll ever meet. She doesn't get angry on social media like I do. But my dad did this thing where I'll never forget this. And I'm telling you, it has molded me and shaped me in a way where it's hard to explain. Where if I raised my voice at my mother, at either of them, but I did raise my voice at my mother more because she was much more nurturing, and it's easier to lose your cool with like the loving, softer parent that you're not like scared of. Like my dad was very strict, and he was the disciplinarian in the family. And if I got angry, I didn't really have a problem losing it at my mom. Not now, obviously. I'm talking like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to my teenage years, 16, 15, maybe 17. At 17, I was already more mature. But my dad would always say, if I ever lost it at my mom, if I ever disrespected my mother, or if we ever like let our mother clean the table after us, after dinner, after she cooked a dinner for us and she picked us up from school and all these different things, my father would say, God told you in the 10 Commandments you have to respect your mother and your father. How could you yell at your mother? And he would be like genuinely shocked. Like, how could you break the 10 Commandments? And he was raised by this Iranian, my grandfather was from Iran, this hardcore Iranian man, Yoav, that's my grandfather from Esfahan, like a tough guy, not easy to have him as a dad, although, my father, obviously they loved each other, but I promise you there's a point to telling you guys all my family history here. He would always say to me, I was raised by my father from Iran, and it wasn't easy, and I could count on one hand the times that I raised my voice at him. I could count on one hand. How could you yell at your mother when the 10 Commandments exist? How could you break the 10? And he drilled the 10 Commandments into my head in a way that is hard to explain. If I raised my voice at my mother, and I used to really be upset at him for this, like, let me be angry sometimes, it's okay. He wouldn't stand for it. He would say, you're a Jew, you have 10 commandments. God said to honor your mother, and you yelled at her? I could count on my hands the times that I yelled at my parents. And he would be so disappointed and just drill the 10 commandments, 10 commandments, 10 commandments, 10. And it created this Jewish identity in me. Like I said before, Jewy, like so Jewish. I felt more Jewish than everyone. Like when your father's always, and I can't thank him enough for doing it now. I hated it growing up. Like, oh, I know it's a 10 commandments, leave me alone. But he drilled into my head, there's a God who is watching you, who cares how you behave. There is morality in the world, and you cannot, as your father, I will not allow you to yell at your mom. That is breaking the 10 commandments. That is immoral. And he would tell me this at like 12 years old, and I'm like, leave me alone. I'm a teenager. And he wouldn't stand for it. And I'm telling you this because it did something for me. I have no merit in this. It was a privilege. It's a privilege for me. I didn't do anything to be like this. He drilled into my brain. Sorry if you guys hear noise. The dishwasher and all my cleaning machines are on. He drilled into my head that I'm a Jew, that I'm a Jew when I'm sleeping, I'm a Jew when I'm awake, I'm a Jew when I'm eating, I'm a Jew when I I'm laughing. I'm a Jew at school. I'm a Jew in university. I'm a Jew on the subway. I'm a Jew in Israel. I'm a Jew in America. I'm a Jew always. He drilled this into my head. There is a God that cares what you do. You may not yell at your mother not because she made you food. And that's all true. There's 10 commandments. And he just drilled this. And I'm learning this from the Rebbe now. This sicha. Sicha means literally a talk. It's a teaching from the Rebbe. And the Rebbe says the exact same thing. I don't really want to I want to just learn it with you. The Rebbe just asks us to choose our Jewishness fully. My dad, through drilling into my mind at the age of 11, at the age of 10, that you cannot yell at your mother, not just because she does everything for you, but because there's a God who has expectations of you, and you and your people received the 10 commandments 3,500 years ago, and you may not, as my Jewish child, break those 10 commandments. He created a Jew out of me. Like, I was always Jewish, but my identity became like solidified. I was a Jew. Like, that's it. That's who I am. and I learned my lesson. I may not yell at my mother. There are 10 commandments. And the Rebbe literally, I'm seeing my father, was close to the Rebbe, loved the Rebbe. Rebbe, by the way, are the same thing. And the Rebbe says I'm just going to read, I'm going to learn it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want to just learn it with you. So we're learning something from the Rebbe, from Parshas Yisro. It's just incredible. B'matan Torah ne'amar. I'm going to read in the Rebbe's words, which is Hebrew, although it might have been in Yiddish that he said this, but I have it here in Hebrew and I'm going to translate it, okay? B'matan Torah ne'amar. When we learn about Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, in the Torah it says, Vayidaber Elokim es kol hadvarim ha'ela lemor. And God said all of these words saying, okay, so it's a little bit off. God said all of these words saying, Hamafarshim shoalim, the commentators on the Torah, they ask a question, Ma perosh lemor? What's this extra word lemor? We know that every word of the Torah is specific and on purpose. What the heck do we need lemor for? Get it out of here. Get lemor out of here. Okay, it should just say, and God said all of these words. Why does it say God said all of these words saying? B'chol makom bo ne'amar vayidaber gomer lemor. In every place where there's this double language of God said this saying, which is what we have now, Perusho shel davar, the explanation for this is, sheyesh lemsor es hadvarim lebnei Yisrael. Usually when it says, and God said to Moses saying, it's because he's saying, the commentators are telling us, God is telling Moshe, I'm telling you something, and then go and repeat it, go say it to the children of Israel, to the Israelites, to the Jews, right? So God says something to Moses to go and give it to the Jews. So God, Vayidaber Elokim es kol hadvarim ha'ela lemor, and Hashem said all these things, saying, meaning, go and say them, Moses. But this doesn't make sense here, right? Because all the Jews were at Matan Torah. So why we shouldn't have this double language? Moshe doesn't need to go and repeat what God is saying because everyone's here at Mount Sinai. Classic question. Baram, however, but Matan Torah, at Mount Sinai, when we got the Torah, Kisha kol b'nei Yisrael nochachu bo, all the Jews were present there, v'kulam shamu, and everyone heard. Ma mashmot shel lemor. So why do we need this word lemor? And by the way, the Rebbe goes on, we're not going to do the whole thing, because this is going to be a shorter, not a very long class. The Rebbe goes on to say, actually, every Jew that will ever exist for all of eternity was at Matan Torah. The Midrash actually tells us that every Jew that will ever be born ever, and every Jew that came before, and every Jew that ever existed was at Mount Torah. You were there, I was there, we're in this covenant just as much as Moses was. So there shouldn't be this lemor. This is very important because something magnificent is about to come from this lesson. So why do we have this double language? It's because, the Rebbe is going to explain, we do need to repeat it. Moses and the Jews actually do need to repeat everything they're hearing at Mount Sinai. Usually Hashem is telling Moses, go, I'm telling you something, now go repeat it to the children of Israel because they can't hear me. All the children of Israel heard. So who is he talking to? Who is Hashem saying to repeat it to who? To the world. Go and give the 10 commandments. Go and give this knowledge of God to the world. Go and tell the world that there's a God that exists. There is divine morality that is unchangeable. Go and tell the world that there is a creator, and the creator cares how we treat each other. Go and tell the world about the 10 commandments, that you cannot covet your neighbor's wife. Isn't that fascinating? That God cares if you are jealous, that you want someone else's wife, to have self-control, to treat your wife with dignity and respect. That's why there's a double language here. Hashem is saying, Moshe, I'm telling you something, lemor, go and repeat it. And tell the Jews to repeat it. Let's go. Or HaTorah. the light of the Torah, Aseres Hadibros, the 10 Commandments, Tzarech laha'ir be'inyane ha'olam. They need to light up the whole world. Do not keep the Torah to yourself. The Torah and the 10 Commandments need to light up the whole world. Shelo kida'as hasovrim, sha'torah lachud, ha'olam lachud. It's not, well, before I translate that, sorry. The Rebbe's going to flip right now. We were just talking about tell the whole world about the Torah. That's why there's this double language. Again, every word in the Torah is on purpose. There's a double language because we do have to go and repeat it. We have to go to repeat it to the world. And the Rebbe's going to make a point here. You cannot shine as a Jew, or if you want the Torah to shine, if you want to shine as a Jew, you need to be a Jew all the time. It's what my dad did for me as a teenager. When you get angry, you're still a Jew. You may not yell at your mother. There are 10 commandments. When you go out on the subway, when I lived in New York City and in Brooklyn and I would go on the subway, you still hold yourself. You still behave like a Jew. When you go on vacation, when I go to the beach, I still dress differently because guess what? I'm still Jewish on the beach. And it's not about like, oh, you're not doing it right. It's about emes, truth. If you really understand Torah, if you really are connected to your soul, you will understand what your Jewishness is and you will want to embrace it all the time. You will start to understand that these weird laws that make us different, that we've sometimes become embarrassed of, they're everything, they're holiness. And the Rebbe's going to say, he's going to switch the conversation, just like that. Go give the Torah to the whole world, and the Rebbe is going to talk to you now. The Rebbe addresses you right now. He's talking to you. The Rebbe turns to from the world to personal. So listen. Shelo kida'as hasovrim, sha'atorah lachud v'ha'olam lachud. These people who have comments about how the Torah is separate and the world is separate, right? There's a Torah and there's a world and there's people and there's Jews. They're wrong. And then sometimes people say that you should really be Jewish and look Jewish and act Jewish when you're in a Torah environment. You're in a Jewish environment. When you go to synagogue, when it's a Jewish holiday, when it's Passover, then you really dig up your Jewishness, comport yourself, hold yourself, behave Jewish. The ilu b'tzeiso la'olam. And when you go out into the world, alav lihishaneg behatam lahanchos harvachos ba'olam. When you go out into the world, then you kind of conform to the society around you. I live in a culture. I have to keep up with the culture. I'm going to behave in a way that everyone else does. Yes, I'm still Jewish, but that's really when I'm in synagogue. When I go out into the world, my work, my job, my career, social events, then I act like the world tells me to. It's not bad. It's just, I have to be like everyone else. You have to fit into your culture. Ha'adam nidrash shekol inyanav ubechlal makshur b'olam haza yiyu lefi hanhachos shel haTorah. A Jew is required to have all of his affairs and every part of his life, everything in his life needs to be dictated by the Torah. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I'm sweating. Ignore it. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. It doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in New York City working with a million other people. At all times, a Jew needs to live like a Jew. What does it mean to live like a Jew? To fully choose the Torah, to live a Torah life. We were given the Torah at Mount Sinai. We were given the 10 Commandments. You cannot share the light of the Torah with the world if you don't choose the Torah fully. And the Rebbe continues, Ein hamaduvar b'dvarim ha'asurim. The Rebbe says, I'm not talking about things that are not allowed. Harei pashat hadavar sha'asur asur. Of course, things that are not allowed, like bacon, driving on Shabbos. The Rebbe is not saying, no, those things don't give up. Don't give up on the things that are not allowed. This is so interesting. Ach hakavanahi. Sha'afilu gabi dvarim hamutarim. Even the things that are allowed to you. When I think about beauty, when I think of this, Einan tzrichos hanachos ha'olam. They shouldn't be dictated by the world. The way you dress. You can dress the way you dress, the way you eat, they should be dictated by Torah. Even those parts of your life that are like, oh, it's not bad. This is the fashion of the day. This is what everyone else is doing. Ki'im hanachos ha'torah. They should be dictated by Torah. I'm telling you, it's exactly the way my dad raised us. Freaks me out. I mean, I guess it makes sense because my dad has learned this his whole life. Let's continue. And the Rebbe continues, Zo gam mashma'ud hanamar. This is also the meaning of something that King David said in Psalms. Haisali dim'asi lechem yomam v'layla, ba'amor elai kol hayom ayeh elokecha. This is one of the most beautiful verses in Psalms. My tears became my bread day and night when they say to me all day long, where is your God? It's a very sad, somber verse in Psalms that King David lost his appetite. His tears became his bread because the whole world was asking him, really, where is your God? That God you talk about, where is he? That God you're so sure about, where is he? Liadua shahamariros mashpia ad kidei I hargasha shal ra'av. King David, this pain that he's talking about is so intense that he lost his appetite. He stopped feeling hungry. Minayin novas hamariros. Where does this kind of bitterness come from? Where does this kind of depression come from? Ba'amor elai. What's the answer? When they say to me, where is your God? Ba'amor elai. When they, we'll see who they is, says, where is your God? Milamala ba'ahatana. This question comes from above. Kol hayom ayeh elokecha. God is asking you all day this question, ayeh elokecha, where is your God? Where am I in you? God is watching you. God is surveying your life. You were there at Mount Sinai. You were given the 10 Commandments. You are a Jew. This bitterness, it's coming from above. Ayeh Elokecha. Where is that God that revealed himself to you? I don't see him in your life. The Rebbe is trying to send us a message. It should be so apparent to everyone, God included, that you are Jewish. In every way, in everything you do, in the way you eat, in the way you sleep, in the way you love, in the way you laugh, in the way you live, in the way you clean, in the way you sleep. It should be apparent to everyone that you're Jewish, just from the way that you hold yourself. And this bitterness comes from above. Ayeh Elokecha. Milamala ba'atana. This question, this claim, it's not an accusation. This question comes from above. Where is your God? When I see you, I should know who your God is. Let's turn the page. Zo hadrisha hamufanis klape ha'adam. This is the demand that is directed towards all of us. Kol hayom ayeh elokecha. All day long, we should know, where is your God? I should be able to look at you and know who your God is. It's one of the reasons I choose to look more. I love looking Jewish. I want everyone to know whenever they see me, this woman is a Jew. She's Jewish. You can tell by the way she speaks. You can tell by the way she holds herself and the way she behaves. And when God looks at me from on high, he can say, there is her God. I see myself in her. Kol hayom ayeh elokecha. This is the demand made of everyone. Hashem asks all day, where is your God? Osa hargasha shel anochi Hashem elokecha, heichan hi kol hayom! Exclamation point, question mark. It's from the Rebbe. This feeling of anochi havaya elokecha, this feeling that the Jews had at Mount Sinai, where they saw God, they heard God. God revealed himself to us in this one cosmic event that changed us forever. It kind of traumatized us in a good, for better or for worse. We can't forget it. Where is that feeling? Heichan hi kol hayom. Where is that feeling? That feeling that the Jews had when they saw God. They saw emes. They saw truth. Why don't you feel it anymore? Where is it? Heichan hi kol hayom. The Rebbe is asking you, where is it all day? We should see it all day. Ha'ovda shehu margesh es elokecha b'sha'as ha'tefillah. The fact that, but I feel elokecha, I feel my God, I feel that I'm Jewish when I'm davening, v'limad Torah, when I'm learning Torah, o b'sha'as hasvados, when I'm at a farbringen, eina maspekes. The Rebbe says it's not enough. Everyone likes to paint the Rebbe as this pacifying peacemaker. Everyone's holy. The Rebbe was very demanding. Eina maspeket. It's not enough to feel holy when I'm learning Torah. I'm learning Torah it's not enough to feel holy when I'm learning Torah and praying. It's not enough. Lo zo hakavana. This wasn't the intention that God had when he created you, for you to feel holy when you're doing holy things. Davar zeh haya efshar lahasig al yedei malachim. The malachim can do this. It's very easy to feel holy doing holy things. You're not an angel. You have a different job. Hadrisha, what is that job? What is that demand? What is that task? Hadrisha klapav hi, this demand that is asked of you, shakol hayom. What is it? That all day, kol hayom, all day, b'sha'a shahu ochel, at the time when you're eating, b'sha'a shahu shosa, when you are drinking, b'sha'a sha'osek b'mascharo uv'mlachto, when you are doing, when you're at work making money, when you're investing yourself in your career, b'sha'a shahu medaber im b'nei adam, when you are talking to someone, shetiyeh sholetas bo, that you will be dominated, hargashas alokecha, by the feeling of, my God, your God. That feeling we had at Mount Sinai, when you were, every second of the day, you should be dominated by that emotion, by that sense, by that knowledge that there is a God in the world and that we are connected to him. We were given his intimacy. The Torah is God's intimacy. It's his will. It's his wisdom. It's everything he cares about. He gave it to you. It's the same way I gave myself to my husband. He's so lucky. I'm joking, but actually not. And I'm lucky too. My husband gave me his inner world. And God did that to the Jewish people. You should feel it as much as you feel it when you're learning Torah, as much as you feel it when you're davening, when you're praying. Meaning to say, that's the end of that part of the Sikha. Meaning to say, I need to keep a box of tissues to wipe my sweat. Meaning to say that to spread the light of Yiddishkeit, to spread the light of Judaism, you have to choose your Jewishness all the way first. You have to choose your Jewishness all the way first. Every moment. It's why I always tell Jewish women, be proud, embrace that you're different. I live here in Florida. It's very hot. It does make me sad when I can't tell that a Jewish woman is Jewish. And it's not that I judge her. It's that we have so much. We were given so much. Why not embrace it? We aren't supposed to look like everyone else. I talk about influencer Judaism a lot, where we copy the other nations. And I'm going to make reels about this tonight. I'm tired though. It's our fatal flaw. It's the bane of our existence. It's our Achilles heels, that it's hard for us to be proud of being different. Read this week's Torah portion. We didn't go over it. We didn't actually read the Parsha because I don't want this video to be too long. Go through what it was like at Mount Sinai. You were there. You were there. Don't laugh at it. It's not funny. You were there. I know you don't remember it, but you do remember it. I know you don't remember it, but you do remember it. I know deep down there is this yearning, there is this aching, there is this thirst. Remember, I called this the thirsty souls a few years ago when I started this channel. You have a soul and it's thirsting for something. You witnessed something at Mount Sinai. You were there. You remember it deep down. And that feeling, that awe, that recognition of absolute MS, absolute truth, it should dominate us all day. That is what the Rebbe is saying. And I hope that you think when you go to shul this week, I'm going to shul this week, obviously, to hear the Aseret Dibros. We all have to go to shul this week to hear the Ten Commandments. If you feel that awe-inspiring, that inspiration, try to carry it with you throughout the rest of your life. Really, that is what it is to be Jewish, to be dominated, just completely imbued, pervaded by this sense that God is real and I was given the Torah and what a wondrous thing. It is out of this world. Good Shabbos, everyone. Next time I speak to you, I'll be 27. And have a great Shabbos. I'll see you next time.